Greetings everyone and welcome to EDEF 610 for Summer 3 2014. As you know, I am Kristen Morrison and I will be your instructor for this online course this summer. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to go over the syllabus with you and hopefully make everything clear for how things are going to proceed this semester. So as you see, I have revised the syllabus as of today, which is May 8th, and I wanted to go over with you everything that's on it. And of course, to start with, there's my contact information, and you know that I have a bit of an email addiction. I actually am going to be trying to work on that this summer and only respond to emails in the morning, so we'll see how that goes. But I do have contact information for you. I first have my office number that you can see on the screen. So the syllabus goes on and talks about the course description, and it lists the two texts that I'm asking you to buy. One of them, both of these are available in the campus bookstore, or of course you can get them on Amazon probably for cheaper. The rest of the readings are going to be placed on D2L. And this for course credit, you will be graded using the usual Bradford Graduate College plus-minus grading scale. I want to let people know that graduate students can take up to 20% of their classes, which would be essentially 2 classes, as pass-fail. And so if you are interested in doing that, let me know and I'll help you get the paperwork figured out for that. So this class is essentially like a directed reading that's done as a group. And so there's reading responses, online threaded discussions, and then at the end of the semester there's a final project / paper that you work with some other folks on, as well as a very brief self-evaluation. So the reading responses as the first set of assignments, those are every week, just like they were for EDEF 607. And as you recall, for that class, it's not meant to be a summary. It's meant to be your reaction to what you read and synthesizing it and pulling it together. And it's going to be graded with basically the same rubric exactly the same rubric that I used in 607. So as you can see on page 10 of the syllabus, it talks about how you're graded. And of course you know that you can be very creative with your reading responses if you like. The only complication is that you won't be able to turn them into me as physical objects. You might have to take pictures. So Helen, I know you love to do creative reading responses, as do some other folks. And so if you choose to do something that might be physical, like a collage or a poster or some other kind of model or something like that, you'll have to take pictures of it and send those to me. So reading responses are all going to be submitted to me as emails, as attachments, and you'll be naming it with your last name, as I say on page 4, naming it with your last name and cutting and pasting the rubric onto the last page so I don't have to hunt for that. So if you have any questions about the reading responses, let me know. They'll count as 45% of your final grade. Then the other big piece of the class is participation, which is going to be done through Wikispaces rather than through D2L, simply because I can't stand what D2L looks like and how you've got to sign in through 10 different spaces and stuff like that. So Wikispaces is a whole lot easier to look at, and I've already sent everybody an invitation, so you're going to have to go and create an account in Wikispaces, and then you'll have access to all of our stuff. And here is what Wikispaces looks like. This is what it'll look like when you come to it. And over here on the left-hand side of the page, you will see various pages, and I'll be adding to them over the course of the semester. But the first thing is, introduce yourself. I don't think you all will be able to load pictures, but I've loaded some weird pictures of things that I have done over the past couple of years. But what you'll do to introduce yourself is you will click on this thing over here where it has like a little 2 talk bubbles. You'll click on that, and then you will introduce yourself. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on New Post, and your post will have your name, so like Kristen Morrison, and then you go ahead and type in, this introduction of yourself. And then you just click Post, and it will show up. It'll show up momentarily. There we go. And so then we'll be able to go in and read about everybody. So what will happen on a weekly basis will look like this schedule that's up here. So every week, by Monday at 6 p.m., you're going to submit to me via email your reading response. Then between Tuesday and Friday at 6 p.m., we will have online threaded discussions talking about that week's readings. That will stop at Friday 6 p.m. so that you have a couple of days to be off, I guess, or work on the next week's assignments. But yeah, so that's what the weekly schedule looks like. And so you'll be submitting reading responses by 6 p.m. on Monday, and then you'll have discussions from Tuesday till Friday. And then, so how it will work, let me go back to the syllabus here about how the threaded discussion is going to work. Is that each week I will assign a couple people who are going to be our discussion starters. And these are sort of modified Voodles, if you remember Voodle from the EDEF 607 class, that is just an opportunity for you to get discussion going on various topics. And so they can be opposition points, or they can just be discussion question type things. And it's much, much less involved than the Voodle assignment is, because you're only responsible for starting 2 discussion threads. So let me illustrate for you what that will look like. So basically you will go into the week on the left-hand side that we are on. So obviously I don't have week 1 up yet. I saved week 9 from the last time I taught this class to kind of illustrate for you what this looks like. So if it was week 9, you would go in there. I just recap what the readings is and who are our discussion starters. And you would go into this space again. And as you can see, again, this is from when I taught it in 2012, so I'll be getting rid of this in just a little bit, but I wanted to leave it to illustrate for you. But you would basically go into this place here, if you're a discussion starter, and you would have a new post. And you would type like your subject. So for example, if we've been reading about I don't know, free schools, and I had you read a little bit about the Albany Free School, and had you watch a video clip about the Brooklyn Free School, or a podcast on that, as well as had you look at the Sudbury Valley Free School or something like that. And there was something in particular that interested you that you wanted to ask about. So you kind of just make up a topic. So for example, a topic might be kids fighting, or something, or council meetings, or whatever the topic might be. And you would pose your comments and questions to get things rolling. So mostly question-oriented, or just something provocative to get us going and talking about that subject. And then you would click post, and it would show up. And I'm not going to post that particular one, but I'll show you that what you see on the screen is from, again, the previous time that I taught this class. So Jessica was our discussion leader, so she started us off on 3 different threads, 3 different topics, and then people started responding to those various topics. Now, that's the extent of the discussion starter responsibility, is that by Monday evening, so after you've submitted your reading responses, if you are a discussion starter for that week, then you will go on to Wikispaces and get us started with some threads, minimum of 2. Now, that's the end of your responsibilities as discussion starter. You don't have to sum up the discussion or lead the discussion in any other way. It's just to get us started. And I'll be coming in and out and kind of posing secondary questions and getting involved in the discussions as well. But as you can see on this screen, it's not just questions by Jay Marshall here, but other classmates kind of got in and started some topics. Like in this case, Jessica started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, she went well beyond the minimum of 2 and started 6 discussion threads. And then we also saw Hokie Emma come in and Ann McKittrick come in and add some topics as well. So you don't have to be limited to the topics that the discussion starters introduce. You can start your own thread as well. But again, the role of the discussion starter is just to get the ball rolling. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. So if you're a student and not a discussion starter that particular week, well, you're all students all week, but you know what I mean. So you'll go in starting on Monday evening at 6 p.m. or start Tuesday morning, whichever you want to do, and you will click on, you'll look at what the discussion starters have put up there as topics, and you'll click on them and you will read them. So let's just go to the Stone Age. I think she misspelled stone here. But her question was, she quoted something from the readings, and then she posed a question about that. And so then people started responding to it. So they respond, another person responded, another person responded. I chimed in and asked a follow-up question. And so it kind of just goes on and on like that. And so you read, and then if you want to add to the discussion, you then add to it, and then you hit post. And then you might say, okay, well, I want to read what other what other questions there were besides the Stone Age. So let me go back and let me see what Jessica had to say about similarities between Montessori and Quaker schools. And so she posed, actually it was Hokie Emma who posed a question on this and asked a question, and people responded and back and forth. So that's pretty much how it goes. It just goes along those threads, and we kind of jump around to various things, but just have a deep discussion over the course of 5 days about the readings from that week. So again, the online asynchronous discussion is happening between Tuesday and then Friday at 6 p.m. If you're a discussion starter, as soon as you turn in your reading response to me by 6 p.m. on Monday, you also go in here and you get the discussions going. And so then basically it's Tuesday through Friday that we're going to have the discussions going on. And what I recommend, what I typically do is I'll wake up in the morning and I'll come down and check my emails, and then I'll check on here to see what's new since I last was here, and add discussion questions myself or add comments and things of that nature. So try to check it at least once a day between Tuesday and Friday, and you might check it multiple times a day if you're really into the discussion, but I'm looking for substantive input into these discussions. And I talk about substantive participation on the syllabus, and then I also have a rubric for how I'm going to be grading the discussion that is found on page 11. So I'll be grading the discussion, the written discussion, on a weekly basis. So those are the two big things for the class, is the reading responses and participation. At the end of the semester, there will be a final paper group project, and I will be letting you know as to who the groups are. Basically, together, you're going to be creating a school or a learnery, because as you'll find out, some of our authors are opposed to the use of the word school. But I'm doing it as a group project this summer because I'm learning from being involved in the Blue Mountain School out in Floyd that one person alone cannot create a school. And I think that we need to learn skills of negotiation and kind of talking through what are personal goals versus what are other people's goals, and how do we compromise and get to some sort of realistic outcome. So I've turned this into a group project, and so you'll have the opportunity to kind of work together over the course of weeks to develop your group school. But I give you outline here about what sort of things you want to answer. But basically, the premise is that you are applying to a foundation to get startup money for this school, and you need to communicate with the granting foundation, what is this idea that you have? What is it all about? What will it look like? And so I have bulleted questions that you would answer, but of course you can answer other questions, and you don't necessarily have to answer every single one of those questions, but those are sort of to guide you. And then there's the rubric for how I'm going to be grading that on page 12 to 13, or just 12 of the syllabus. But that will be due at the end of the summer. Just the rest of the syllabus is, the last assignment, which is really short, it's just a self-evaluation that I'm going to be grading pass-fail. Did you do it or did you not do it? I'm just kind of curious as to what you think about an online class, and want you to take some time to reflect about, what being involved in an online class was like for you. Then I just have some guidelines for successful online courses. I know quite a few of you have already taken some online courses, so you're probably like, this is old hat. But I just want to have them out there in case you need a refresher, or if you've never taken an online class. I have what you can expect from me as your instructor, the honor code stuff, the students in need of academic stuff, all that sort of regular things that you see on the syllabus. So we are going to be hitting the ground running in week 1. The first reading response is going to be due 6 p.m. by May 20th, which is a Tuesday. And so I know that that's just like smack you in the face at the beginning of the semester sort of thing, but in order for us to get through all of the stuff, we need to kind of get rolling and jump right in with the first week of the semester. I think that is it. If you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to contact me, email, phone call, whatever you want to do. I'm hoping to find out how many people are local this summer, because I'd love for us to have some kind of get-together to kind of talk to one another face-to-face, although we won't have any face-to-face classes, but I'd just like us to have maybe some social time together. So that's it, and if you have any questions, just let me know.